Look, slow down, video games. There are too many of you and we can't keep up. Which is why you've got 4 of us this week discussing the hottest recent and upcoming releases from Atomfall to Doom the Dark Ages, all on today's episode of the PlayStation Access Podcast. Hello and welcome to the PlayStation Access Podcast, the official podcast of PlayStation UK. I am your host, Rob Pearson. We are joined today by David Jackson.
Hello.
The returning Rosie Caddick.
Hello, everyone.
Rosie's back, everyone.
I'm
Rosie's
back.
return.
Stars.
And making his PlayStation Access Podcast debut, it's Connor Jackson.
Hello.
A.K.A. Starfighter Connor.
Yes, that's my name.
That's his true
Legally.
name.
That's my legal name.
Connor, you're here because you've been playing a lot of Doom, and we're going to talk about Doom a bit later.
Yes.
But really, in general, we're going to be talking about what we've all been playing recently because, again, we're only like 3 months into 2025. But the games just haven't stopped.
No.
They just haven't stopped coming out, and I really would like them to, so I can actually finish something. That would be great. So we're gonna have a little bit of a discussion about some games we've been playing recently. We're gonna have some Atomfall discussion. As I said, we're gonna have some Doom the Dark Ages discussion because Connor has actually been on a trip to play Doom the Dark Ages. But before all of that, we need to catch up with Rosie. Rosie, you've been away for a while, still finding time to beat all my times on Astrobot, I see.
Honestly, the Astro Time Trials while I was away, like Thursday was like the special day. Like, you know, what a way to break up the weeks when it's Thursday, when it, you know, hit around the afternoon, as soon as it was like Astrobot updated, it was like, right, here we go. Let's see what carnage is happening.
What you've been doing, because we were streaming it competitively. Thinking we were really good.
You were really good.
Only to look at the leaderboards and invariably see you with a faster time than all of us. And we weren't bitter.
They were very bitter.
No, not at all. I'm sure you weren't. But while I was away and I'll just say I was recovering for health reasons and stuff, but doing the Astrobot Time Trials, I just naturally went back into like my gamer instinct, you know, when you're like, oh, I need to be resting and stuff, but I was like sitting upright, leaning forward, when I've just had like something happen to my stomach, and it's just like, oh wait, I forgot I need to actually sit back. But I just got so invested in the Astrobot Time Trials again that I loved them. Gamer instinct mode. And that's the thing, when you do it once, then already you're like, I can do it quicker, I can do it again, and then you do it again and again and again. And then when you, like, Rob, we were just talking today earlier in the office, and you get to the point where if Astro, when he's running, if you don't time the jump right and he has that little stutter on like a ledge where he's like, I don't want to fall off. If you get that little stutter, that's it. It's like run ruined. Gotta start. Might as well start again.
It has to be smooth.
Gotta be smooth.
What we were also discovering on the live streams. So I'm really smooth at the game. Not always the fastest at the game. As soon as my eyes just flicked to Dave then, and I could already see he's frustrated and annoyed. I'm doing my bit, Dave.
It's a good bit, Rob. But it's not a bit. That's the thing. That's what annoys me. Is I know that you do think you're the smoothest at the game, and I mean maybe you are, but it seems completely useless to me because I beat you every time.
You don't though.
Well, 6 times out of 7, or however many streams we did. Yeah.
Dave, you were genuinely a boss at the Astro Time Trials. Like you.
Thank you, Rosie.
You had
Finally,
the talent.
the respect I deserve.
No, genuinely, you had the talent of when you came in. Literally, you do it twice, and then you'd beat the time in that second attempt.
He spends most of it just watching others toil away, finding out how to get through. Because he's always gets the luck of the dice. He's always going last. And he just sees us all make the mistakes, and he just swans in. I'll do it now.
But
still got to do it. Still got to walk the walk.
You got to do it. You got to do it.
What can I do?
Anyway, what else have you been playing, Rosie?
So I've been playing
let's
that.
stop the Astrobot discussion now.
So I've been playing that, and also during my recovery period, I've got my list.
Here we go.
So I'm just going to talk about the games that I finished. So I got the platinum.
Oh my God, how many? Well, you haven't done the list yet, but how many games did you start?
I think I started 6 and 5. Well, one of them I'm still playing at the moment, but I'm playing that with my boyfriend, and we're like 50 hours in. So I think that's fair to say, like, mention that in this podcast segment because it's a long time. But first of all, I got the platinum for Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii
I'd expect
because
nothing less.
I had to. Loved that game to pieces. I was bewildered how, like, it was on chapter 2 and I'd already put like 30 hours into the game in chapter 2.
Wow.
It was just like, wow. But loved that game. It was filled with heart, great fun adventure. That's it. I could just talk about these games all day, but I know that it's like we've got other things to talk about. So I did that. The game that I'm still playing with my boyfriend at the moment is Persona 5 Royal.
Oh yes, Rosie.
Yeah, so
finally
we've just defeated the because I don't know what spoilers are, or I don't want to say for spoilers, but we've just finished the bank segment. So I'll say that we've just done like the area
Is
that's
that
in the
number
bank.
4?
It's number 3, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
So number 3. So we've just done that, and we're at the phase now where everyone's just like, oh, now we just have to wait for the for the heart to change and stuff, and for them to admit their crimes. So now we get to do the fun part of like, yes, I'm going to now chill with my friends. I'll do some cleaning and have a bath in the hot spring and stuff.
Make some coffee.
Wash my laundry, do some work, all that jazz. So we're still playing that. Then I finished Tomb Raider, The Angel of Darkness, which I did because I was like, I've got a history with this game, and ever since I was a kid, I just could never beat it. And I thought, you know what? I'm gonna prove this game that I can finish it. I was like, I'm gonna push through my childhood traumas, and I'm going to finish this
For
game.
years, that game has been there thinking to itself, "Oh, Rosie can't finish me."
Yeah, literally, it's been there. Just, you know, the front cover of the PS2 has got like Lara in front of like the blue flames, and it's all dark and gloomy. Literally, that's like, you know,
That was the first PS2 Tomb Raider, right?
Yeah, it
What's
was.
the name of the guy in that? Kurt? Is it Kurt?
in all honesty, I don't remember.
Rosie hasn't played it at all.
That's how I say his name much. Literally, like, he only popped up every now and then. Yeah,
The Dude Raider in it.
he popped
Dude
up every
Raider,
now and then. And the main, I think, if anything, I don't remember his name because when he first properly gets introduced, there's like a whole segment where I think they were very influenced by the first film with Angelina Jolie. And there's a whole segment. And, you know, in the film with Angelina Jolie, the first one, there's the scene when she's with Daniel Craig in the boat. And it's a bit like, you know, flirtatiously with a handcuff as she like ties him to the boat, and then he's like, "Oh, Lara, you got me with your whoa! How did you do that?"
Let's just pretend I can remember that.
Yeah. I couldn't even remember that Daniel Craig was in it.
No, that's news to
Daniel
me.
Craig.
I know. I always
Which
forget.
is the one where she punches a shark in the face?
Is that the second
That's
one?
the second one, I think, which I've only seen once, so I don't have a full memory of that. But the first
best movie
Angelina
ever
Jolie
made.
film,
And the
I
shark
loved
goes
it.
like, "Oh!" It's like, "Oh,
As you would.
that was a surprise."
Lara Croft, please come on now. But when you first meet the guy in Angel of Darkness, it's like he like sneaks up behind Lara, and it's a really, I mean, I thought it was a really weird scene where it's like, you know, his hand, like, it's all very slow moving, and he very carefully like takes the painting, and you just follow the hand as he like also goes for the gun and stuff. I was like, it's very weird, but I was so bewildered by that I completely forgot his name and stuff like that. Every time I see him, I just think of that scene.
Let's just call him Kurt
Let's just, yeah,
for now.
we'll call him that for now. So I finished that. And then also I finished Hitman, the trilogy.
Yes,
I built up
I'm
world-
very proud of you, Rosie.
Yeah, I built up.
Persona and Hitman.
It was a great
Oh,
time.
I've not
Honestly,
even finished the trilogy, have you?
No,
Just the third one.
I've got the platinum in number 3, and I've just like casually.
Dabbled.
I've played all of the maps, but I can't say that I've done the campaigns of Hitman 1 and 2. No.
I did the campaign just because I thought that was the best way to like do all the maps and also like start from the beginning.
Yeah.
After we did the Hitman series, I was like, I really want to learn about Agent 47 and what this is all about. I know that it's mainly there for like the sandbox and how you can do things and all the cool maps, but I was like, no, I'll do the story. And I got really hooked on the story by the end of it. By the ending of Hitman 2, that was when I was like, oh no, I'm very excited for Hitman 3. And literally doing them back to back as well, because they're so brilliant in the sense that they've got, you know, 5 or 6 maps or something in each
Yeah.
game. But you can do so much in them. Doing the story, you can just go through it really easily. Like it just really great story to experience. And so by the end of the third one, I was just like, I was having a great time. And when I finished the story, it's now become my like little pick up and play game. You know, if I've got a spare hour or something, I'm like, yeah, I'll go into a map and I'll see what challenges there are, what I can maybe do for the trophy list.
It's one of the most fun platinums I've ever done. Hitman 3. It's just so much, just lovely playgrounds of creative assassinating.
Yeah, I'm doing a thing at the moment where when I go back, I'm like doing all of the like story ways you can assassinate the target. And I did the manor one in Hitman 3. And when I first played it, I did like the whole Cluedo murder mystery. And that was fantastic.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to solve a case.
Like Knives Out.
Yeah.
The video game.
It was fantastic. And then when I went back in there and then it was the whole story of taking the family picture, I was like, oh, this is just a great map. I'm having a great time with it. Look, I love Hitman, essentially now. Hitman, I'm like, brilliant game.
I'm so glad. It is brilliant.
And then... See, this is why I was like, I'm only going to talk about the games I finished, because this is why I was like, I've already been rambling. But the final one is Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, which I finished over the weekend at time of record, well, basically very recently. So
did you also start it like in the past 6 weeks? You've been off for 6 weeks, I think.
Yeah, so I've been off for 6 weeks.
Did you start and finish it in that time, or did you heard you started it previously?
I started it, I want to say I started it maybe like 2 weeks ago or a week ago or something. Yeah. But I fell in love with it. I was completely hooked on it. And literally when I like finished it, I was talking to my brother and my friend Kevin about it as well. And when I was like, oh, I've done this boss, they were like, you know, to be fair, like you're going at a good pace at the moment. I was just like, well,
it sounds like it, yeah.
I was, I'm just having a great fun time with it. I definitely had the moment though in a From Software game, you know, when you start it and you're really stressed, and the game did that thing where it was like,
that's the only bit I know, right?
But Sekiro does a thing where it's like when you die, it introduces dragon rot, which is when it's like, oh, the NPCs, they're really poorly now. And when I first saw that, I didn't understand what that fully meant. So I thought it meant, oh my God, when I die, I ruined the game. Like,
right.
You know, when you got a From Software game and an NPC is like, they're going to die if you don't do this specific thing. I just thought, oh my God, I'm learning the mechanics. I'm dying. This guy with a spear keeps on killing me and it's making, and I was so stressed about it. And then literally when I just got told, don't worry about the dragon rot for now. They're fine. The NPCs are fine for a bit. Then I was like, brilliant. Oh my God. And then I was so much more relaxed. I could play it. It was great fun. And even when I finished it now, I've gone back into New Game Plus. And I was very proud of like how much quicker you like when you like with the moment when the combat clicks, going back into it, bosses that I was stuck on for ages. There's one particular fight earlier on in the game I was stuck on for a long time, and then literally this time I did it first time, and I was just like, "Wee, having a great time." But I've been rambling on. That's been what I've been. Those are the games I finished in my 6 week organ donation recovery period.
Well, that's pretty good going, Rosie.
Did you have time for anything else, or did you eat or sleep?
Beautiful thing was that my boyfriend, bless him, he got to cook for me. He cooked for me.
I've got a special treat for you.
He is lucky.
No, bless him, he was taking lots of good care of me. And everyone says like, oh, you got to rest. So literally, I just did what I was told, and I spent my time on the sofa.
Yeah.
And I did.
Nico, I've got to rest.
What would you like to cook me today? Lasagna?
I've got a list of options.
A jacket potato.
We did have a jacket potato one day, and that was bliss.
Like a jacket potato.
But literally, yeah, when you're being told to just sit on the sofa and then you're just there on the sofa, it's a great time for video games. So it was good to catch up on like a load of games that I wanted to like in the backlog. Got to play Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii and just have a nice time. I had a very nice time with the video games. A nice variety as well.
I am very glad. Speaking of Sekiro and Souls-likes and beating hard bosses, David, you have...
I do that all the time.
Been playing a little bit of the First Berserker Kazan.
A very little bit.
Which is the new Souls-like adventure action RPG starring Ben Starr.
Yes, friend of the show.
In the
my
lead
personal
role.
Nemesis.
Yes. Alex, I think, who's not on the podcast today, but I think he's finished it. He's been banging on about this for ages.
Oh, don't big him up. He's not here.
You live streamed it recently, Dave.
I did.
What did you, as you know, self-proclaimed best natural gamer on the channel?
Yeah.
What did you think of this?
Thank you, Rob. I actually haven't proclaimed myself.
I
that,
wasn't
but
proclaiming
I'm taking it on now. I'll take that
I'm
forward.
pretty sure you did say, I think I'm just really good at games.
Yeah, yeah. I don't remember, but Rob put it so eloquently. Now I've got something to put on the plaque on my desk.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the live stream. So I wasn't very familiar with this game. It wasn't on my radar. And Nathan Alex put it on there and asked me to stream it. There's a demo now on PS5, so you can also have a go. I think it's the first 2 bosses of the game. I couldn't tell you because I didn't get past the first boss yet, but it's a game I really enjoyed. I think that if you like action RPGs, you've got to give it a go. It's got a really lovely art style. It's kind of, I'm going to talk about things I don't understand as usual, but it's kind of cell shaded. I think it's slightly it's
Cell shade. That's not a term I've heard for years.
Yeah, that's why
it was all the rage, wasn't it? All cell shaded.
that's why I think I'm using it incorrectly. It's probably not cell shaded at all, but it's like, it made me think of cell shaded.
Borderlands is cell shaded.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Bit like that. So
Says so
gonna
much
be-
confidence.
cellish shaded or shaded-ish. Don't know, but
It's
I really
very
liked
Shades
the
of Cell.
art style, and it felt different to. It felt like one of the big differentiators for it against other ARPGs. Also, the story so far, and again, I've only played what you can see me play on the live stream is easy to follow and intriguing, which I really like. Where basically the first Berserker Kazan is being
Give him his full name.
has been accused, I think, of being a traitor and is being transported through the mountains in like a cage as a prisoner. When a kind of entity attacks the convoy and enters a symbiosis with Kazan and gives him sort of powers. But obviously the flip side of that is that Kazan is kind of has to do this its bidding, whatever it is, and I don't know what it is.
I see.
And it's cool and it's interesting and it keeps kind of like affecting him. And but I really like it. I think it's really smooth to play. It's kind of beautiful to look at. It's got some interesting systems that I enjoyed. I think it's got a kind of a side mission structure, so that if you are stuck on a boss or something like that, there are lots of opportunities for you to go off and maybe level up and stuff like that aren't just kind of grinding and repeating sections of the game. So I think if it's not on your radar and you're an ARPG fan, you should definitely check it out. And like I said, there's a demo on the store right now. So get it played. Give it a go.
I will.
Will you?
I will. For about 5 minutes until
I'm not sure you will.
Until I gauge how hard it is.
But
and then
maybe
I'll probably
Rosie
run
will.
away
And
with Rosie will.
Rosie's just finished Sekiro in like 3 hours or something.
Now I've got to save myself for Elden Ring Night Rain. That's my goal was to get that finished before.
You can pop this in.
What, a little slide
You
in.
slide that in. Yeah.
You slid Sekiro in like 2. The way you answered that question. When did I start that? Yeah.
Was it yesterday?
Yeah, I started yesterday lunchtime.
Yeah,
and
but I felt like I'd
was
always
it? I got the
started
platinum.
it in a way.
No, I don't have the platinum for it. I'm working towards the platinum at the
I'm
moment.
sure you will have the platinum for
I
it.
got to get one more ending and then grinding. So my quest for it is not done yet.
It sounds like it's very nearly there.
90% complete.
Yeah. Connor, you will be allowed to speak soon, I promise. But before Connor tells us about Doom the Dark Ages, I want to quickly jump in and talk about Hitman World of Assassination, the PS VR2 update. Rosie, you mentioned you've been enjoying the trilogy. I live streamed Hitman in VR last week.
Is it good?
As of
Very
the time
upsetting.
of recording. I think it might be the most fun I've ever had in life, in my life.
In life.
I was going to say, I couldn't. I thought it was too good to be true when I heard, it's just all of the maps in VR. It's like, it can't be all of it.
Yeah, literally, I'm like,
It
every
just
single
is.
one.
It's amazing.
Well, all of them from like 1, 2
Absolutely
to 3.
amazing. The whole World of Assassination trilogy, all the maps, Hitman 1, 2, and 3, VR.
That's amazing.
And I didn't get to play all of them. I played a selection of my favourites, the classics, Dartmoor, Berlin,
Yep.
Dubai, on the stream, and spent the first 5 minutes just looking at reeds in the water. You get to look at all
That's
of
not all you did in the first 5 minutes.
I'm about to say what else I did.
Yeah.
But that cool VR thing of just leaning in and seeing all of the details that you hadn't necessarily seen previously when just playing the regular version of the game, I just thought it was unbelievable. And you get that sense of scale that you don't get unless you play something in VR. So the rave in Berlin, just like I went to the dance floor and all the other ravers were just, dancing around me. And I was just looking around. It was like being in an actual party.
Why go out to a party now when you've got the Hitman VR game?
Exactly.
It would be much cheaper as well.
Yeah. And I couldn't believe how much fun I was having. I couldn't believe it. You've got this whole dual wielding thing. So the way you can equip stuff is a little bit different. So you've got a left pocket, a right pocket, a holster on your back for like a bigger weapon, and then an inventory for smaller items, which you have to reach into your chest for, as if you're reaching inside Agent 47's jacket. So you've got lockpicks and keys and things in that inventory. You can have like a small pistol or melee items like a golf ball or a exploding rubber duck. They can fit in your pockets, but if you've got like a big shotgun or something, it has to go on your back. And you pull all these things out. So reloading is done by physically ejecting a clip and then shoving a new one in. Reloading the shotgun, I didn't know how to do it, and Dave was on the stream at the time, suggested try the actual pump action, and it worked. And it worked. And
see, clever Dave at it again.
My natural gaming ability there.
But one thing I would say is that if you're trying to play through the missions smoothly and actually do them properly, you will come up against the challenge, which is as soon as you have anything in your hand, the temptation to just throw it at someone is so huge. I mean, for me, I could not. I had an axe in my hand, I had a snooker ball in my hand, I had a baseball, a screwdriver, whatever it was. As soon as you see someone, the satisfaction of using your actual arm to be like, whoa, and then just seeing whatever item is just right into their... Oh,
it was cool.
God, it's so good.
It was very cool.
And then with one hand, you can drag them. And
oh, God.
So I was dragging them with one hand. And on the other hand, I had my axe. And I was just, giving
He was
them...
axing dead bodies. That's
Well,
not
just giving
that's not a Hitman thing.
Extra kills.
That's not very Agent
Just making
47.
Wait, while
sure.
you were dragging an unconscious body,
Yeah.
you were still just going at it
I was
with the
hitting
axe.
it.
They were
hitting it
worse
with
than
an axe.
unconscious, Rosie.
Oh,
Those
no.
were dead
Yeah.
bodies.
And the way you can don disguises as well, you sort of like pull their clothes off with one of the hands. You just swipe it.
Connor's face
and then
just... you just pull their clothes off.
so you grab their bodies with your hand and just pull up, and you'll pull off their clothes, and then you literally just pull it towards you and you don their disguise. It's brilliant.
What was it like getting, because I know in Dartmoor you have to get frisked before you can go into the mansion. Like, do you have to put your arms out to the sides?
Well, I didn't successfully get frisked.
He was too tempted already by that. The front door.
I was getting frisked in Berlin, and I was like, yeah, I put my arms out ready to get frisked, and then I accidentally, I think, like knocked my hand into another party girl on the left, who was like, "What did you do that for?" And they just gave me the look, and I couldn't. If any NPCs gave me the look,
Oh, for God's sake.
I couldn't
in
help.
front of the security guards as well.
I didn't successfully complete any of the levels whilst on this live stream because throwing things at people, punching, actually making a fist in VR and punching someone in the face. Oh, if they look at you with the little question mark, like, what are you doing? That's like, I couldn't tolerate people
having
me dirty
questions
looks.
about why they've been pushed in a queue.
Why did you push me?
Yeah.
I was gonna, we've learned a lot about Rob this episode of the podcast.
It's too much fun. The game is, like, as you've discovered, Rosie, incredibly playable. So much fun to go back in and explore all the different ways you can complete different. As soon as you have the VR element in there.
Oh, did you drown anyone in the toilet in VR?
That's what I wanted to
Rosie,
do.
you're as bad as he
I
didn't manage to
like-
do that, no, and I desperately wanted to. At the end, I was trying to work out how to poison a drink.
Yeah, because I was like, have you
And
poisoned? And I was like, hang on, wait, if you poison, they go to the toilet.
Yes.
And that's why I was like, oh, wait, did
It
you do that in VR?
I did successfully poison a drink, but I ended up fighting some people before anyone got to drink the poison
Oh,
drink.
for God's
but
sake.
that is the next thing I want to do. I want, as they're like throwing up in the toilet, just head in the toilet.
If someone is at home and isn't listening to the podcast and they just hear you going, and then I want to slam their head into the toilet and drown them. That's going to sound really not good.
If you're listening, everything we're talking about is in video games. If you're new to the podcast, and the other cool thing is just the takedowns. The basic takedowns when you get behind someone and you know, suffocate them, knock them out. To do that in the Hitman VR, you have to hold both of your hands around their neck and then just shake them back and forth.
Oh my God.
Yes, honestly.
Seems more like an annoyance than anything. You're like, come on.
It's so funny, my God. I had one guy whose clothes I'd stolen, who had been resuscitated by his friends, was like running past me in just his underwear. I was like, oh God, he's going to dob me in. So I chased after him, was quickly like strangling him whilst looking around at other guards, dumping his... It heightens that sort of spontaneous chaos that can happen in Hitman regularly. But the fact that you're in it and you're intuitively doing these actions, like getting some keys out of your coat pocket and just putting the key in a lock, twisting it with your hand.
Oh, do you have to actually like...
There's like a real intuitive satisfaction to just actions like that, which I always forget how much fun it is in VR doing that. But it's such a good, unnecessarily good implementation of VR into what was originally not a game designed for VR.
Yeah.
And you're playing it in VR thinking, my God, it just works so well. It's so well implemented.
I've got one more question.
Yes.
Just because I'm dying to ask. What's it like dumping a body in the bin? Do you have to, is it like as if when you go outside and you put your bin in a bigger bin and you just literally have to like, you know, lift it and then just put the bin bag in the bin?
It goes into like a little, so you got to walk backwards to drag and you get to like a cupboard or a bin and there's like a prompt and you'll do the prompt and it sort of fades to black and you then put them in the cupboard and come out again.
Oh, okay.
You can hide in cupboards and bins and things, and so you get like little first person inside a cupboard. And so it comes out into third person as well if you do something like shimmy up a drain pipe or are dangling off a ledge. So in those instances, you'll be like seeing hit Agent 47 in third person and controlling him almost traditionally.
Right, okay, nice.
It's very well, everything's been thought of and it's brilliant. Anyway, we've waffled on way too long. With the main two things we need to talk about on this podcast are Doom the Dark Ages and Atomfall, which is the big game that quite a lot of us have been playing recently. But Connor, we'll come to you first. Connor, you've recently been on a trip to play Doom the Dark Ages.
I have, yes.
And you've been helping make some videos on it as well.
I also have, yes.
I am not a big Doom expert, but I think, am I right in saying you're a pretty big Doom fan?
I quite like Doom. Yeah.
Everything you say on the podcast is canon now.
Yeah,
He is the biggest Doom fan.
I like Doom.
So what did you make of your hands-on with the Dark Ages?
I thoroughly enjoyed it. Firstly, just the whole experience of being able to play a game that is not out yet and then just go through that whole process, but in a room with a bunch of other people that haven't played a game yet is quite a fun and novel experience anyway. So taking all of that in and then playing a game that it's changed some things, you know, it's trying to do something a little different. And the whole thing was just really quite surreal, to be completely honest.
You mentioned in your videos there's like a new sort of like, is it a shield? A new shield device that you have, which changes how what the flow of combat is like?
Yes. So it's still very aggressive. You know, you're not losing any of that sense of speed that Doom and its most recent two entries have given you. But it has slowed down a touch. So you now have this, I believe it's the Saw Shield, which is a shield. So you naturally are going to be a little bit more defensive. But you can also throw it at people. So if it's a small enemy, it just slices right through them like they're butter or something. And then if they are larger enemies, it will stun lock them. So then you can, you know, rush towards them and shoot them in the face, which is one of the big joys of playing Doom generally. And it's also like a grappling hook. It functions almost as.
Right.
So you throw the shield and it functions as a dash. So it'll pull you towards the enemies. And in the case of smaller enemies, it will just pull you straight through them. They will just disappear in a cloud behind you. It's pretty satisfying, really. Yeah.
So it's just another weapon, essentially, in the arsenal of things that creates that very Doom-flavored moment-to-moment gameplay loop, I guess.
Yes, and so the gameplay loop is only tweaked. I wouldn't say it's fundamentally changed. It's just It's just the pacing has changed slightly, and because it's a little slower, it means you can be a bit more methodical and plan a bit more. You're still having to improvise, but it's not quite as frantic, I guess, for lack of a better word. Doom Eternal, particularly, it had lots of verticality, and it was very fast. And I loved it, don't get me wrong, but it was, you never really get time to take a breath. Whereas this, you have those moments to take a breath, and that's quite a refreshing change.
And what's the whole Dark Ages angle? Because I understand it's like a prequel of sorts.
Yes.
And then it's got like a medieval vibe.
Yes. So they've been touching on this a little bit through the past 2 games anyway, but this is a fully fledged prequel to Doom 2016. So This is the Doom Slayer before he is the Doom Slayer that you know by that point. And he is effectively a super weapon. So he's locked in like a space cage that when the demons arrive, the race of people that have made him or have captured him, called the Makers, they just launch him like a nuke down at the people and the demons, and then he just eviscerates everything, and then they have to call him back up and put him in the cupboard again, really, and just wait until he comes back to be pulled out for
until they make
later.
a new game.
Yeah. But they're leaning a lot more into this kind of medieval setting. So you've got lovely Gothic castles everywhere, and just the design of the Slayer is different. He's got this big sort of boar's cape or something, so it flows really cool.
You've got a cape now.
Got a cape, yeah, and things are covered in spikes a bit more. It's just, the first level is in the dark. It's in a castle, and it's pretty much lit only by fire in the environment. So either torches or just bits of debris that are on fire.
Yeah.
And with the soft lighting in the game, everything just looks incredible. You've got the moonlight coming in, and you've got blood everywhere because it's Doom and it's still very violent. And then you've got shiny projectiles everywhere that you're shooting or sending back.
Am I right in thinking there's dragons in it as well?
There are. Yeah, there is. Well, there are multiple dragons, but you have a dragon of your own. So you ride the dragon, which is pretty cool, and it functions a bit as a way to travel around certain levels and as a bit of a fighter jet on its own. So you kind of hover around and shoot things, and then you get in, like if it's a ship that you've been shooting, you will shoot the ship until its shields go down, and then you will get in the ship with your dragon, you get off, and then you shoot everything inside it, and then you get out and jump back on the dragon.
Doom guy and his best mate, the dragon.
Yeah, I feel like someone in software was just like, wouldn't it be cool if you could ride a dragon in Doom?
Yeah.
And then from there,
we can do that.
From that starting point, they've just created this whole, let's make a medieval themed Doom. Yeah. Because it sounds odd when you first think about it, but then when you think about it a little bit more, it's like, actually, that kind of makes sense. I can see those two things going together, like the classic look of Doom married to, with a medieval flavour. It feels like it works.
Yeah, I think it's always flirted around that gothic horror thing with the demons and whatnot anyway. But it's just leaning more into that, and it feels a lot more sort of 70s heavy metal. So, Doom has been synonymous with metal music for quite a long time. And this feels like it's leaning into that kind of 70s high fantasy, like Rush or Iron Maiden or something like that, like those kind of areas of metal, rather than the super techie stuff that it was dealing with before with the crazy soundtracks.
Lovely.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert on heavy metal, unfortunately.
No.
Don't know if you can tell.
Do you know Iron Maiden though? Do you know anything? Could you even
I know.
Do you know what that sounds like?
I know the two words Iron Maiden put together, but isn't it like I know it as like a thing, like an ancient.
It's a torture.
It's
device,
a torture device,
yeah.
right? An Iron Maiden.
Yes, not the band.
I think I've heard of the band. I couldn't tell you any of their songs.
Did they do Number of the Beast?
Yeah.
They did.
There we go. So I knew Number of the Beast.
Run to the Hills.
Yeah.
Maybe.
The Trooper. That's the big one.
If I heard the music, I'd probably that song.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Well, we'll find out after this podcast. We'll
Okay.
see. Is it Iron Maiden? We'll do a little quiz.
It's a shame for copyright reasons we can't put that in the podcast.
No, it is,
the actual quiz. But I look forward to doing it once we finish recording. I've never really properly, I've casually tried out Doom games in the past and had a great time with them, but never actually finished a Doom game. Do you feel like the Dark Ages is something that a Doom noob like me could pick up and still have a fun time with?
Yeah, I mean, it's got the high difficulty level if you want that, but there are lower difficulty settings. So if there's no shame in dropping it down. Like I started playing on I believe it's called Give Me Pain. Could be wrong. The third highest, so I guess traditional hard.
Yeah.
And I had to drop it down, and that was quite embarrassing. And I begrudgingly admitted that to some of the people that were there, and they also said that they had to drop it down. I think we were all going in thinking it's going to be exactly the same as Eternal, and then
basically a load of proud Doom players went strutting into this event. I'll be playing on hard.
Yeah, give me pain.
We can do this, and we could not, in fact, do this. So. I think it's something that you could try, and I think you would very much enjoy it. To be honest, it's a very fun gameplay loop. It feels very rewarding when you get it right. So,
well, we're very close now. 15th of May, I believe, Doom: The Dark Ages arrives on PS5. So we can all try Give Me Pain.
Yeah,
and see how we fare. Another game, Connor, that I know you've been playing, and a lot of the team have been playing. It's the fourth big, exciting open world game that seems to have come out in quick succession. So we've had Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, we had Monster Hunter Wilds, Assassin's Creed Shadows, all of which I really like and have not finished and would like to finish. And then along comes Atomfall as well, just to throw another game into the mix. So Dave, you've had a little go on Atomfall. You live streamed it.
I did, yeah. I've been playing it as much as I can in my own time. I've probably only played about 5 hours, and I still feel like I'm sort of uncovering a lot of what's going on.
Yeah.
But I'm absolutely taken with it. I think it's fantastic. I really, more than I thought, and I was looking forward to it anyway. It was one of my sort of games to watch for 2025.
Yeah.
And I think I underestimated how much I was going to enjoy it, and also why I was going to enjoy it. I very much thought I would enjoy it mechanically, as we know, I like mechanics, but also when I think of Rebellion, I think of Sniper Elite and the fun in those games. I feel like they really understand just game feel and just what players want in terms of enjoying themselves, and sometimes slightly childish enjoyment as well. So I was expecting that in Atomfall. What I wasn't expecting was actually quite, I find, an intriguing and compelling open world, and a story that I'm really kind of into, and storytelling that's very open. I think that they have done a really great job of putting you in a world and letting you discover it. And I feel like, well, I know because I've spoken to Connor, I've spoken to Nath, who's been playing it, especially, and Alex, that we've all had very different experiences right from the start of the game, just because we've chosen to go in a certain direction or follow a certain lead, and that has led us astray from lots of things. I mean, on the live stream I don't know if you saw it, Rob, but kind of on a whim, Nath was like, kill that character, and I did kill a character, and it was like a very important quest-giving character.
Yeah.
Who I killed as soon as I saw them in this live stream, and the game wasn't like, oh, you shouldn't have done that. You can carry on if you want, but it was just like, yeah, they're dead now.
Well, you didn't get any punishment. It wasn't as if like security went extra high because
security went extra high. But there was no punishment, as in, well, you can't really finish the story now. It was just kind of like your game.
Well, I told you about when I had the hands on. I threw a grenade at Prudence.
Yes, you did,
just to see what would happen.
Yeah.
I know, poor Prudence, but I was like, oh, can you kill quest giving NPCs in Atomfall? Because I love to. Oh, you've got to test these things early on. You can. And
I think it's a slightly older approach to game development in that way, where it kind of lets the player make some mistakes. It's definitely like I guess what I'm trying to say is it doesn't hold your hand really. Like I was saying from the start of the game, Nath was kind of complaining how he'd got to this one area and he didn't have any guns yet, but that was sort of his choice because he went a certain way. Atomfall doesn't make you go, now come here and learn how to do kicks, and now come here and you get your first gun, and now come here and we'll give you this next thing, and now go and speak to this person and complete this first mission, and now you understand the game and now get into it. It's kind of like right from the off, it's just like, go on then. Where are you
Yeah.
going to go? Like, you might want to go this way, but you might not. You might go over there. And I really enjoyed that, and I've appreciated it. How have you been? What have you particularly enjoyed about it, Connor? And we should say you're much further ahead. In fact, you finished the game.
I have.
So that is much further ahead than me. So, like, in retrospect, looking back at it, what have you really enjoyed about it?
I think it's something very similar, the open-endedness and just the ability to get lost, and just go and do what you want without anything, really being a problem. Like you say, it drops you in at the beginning and gives you the barest of bones before it then says, and off you go. And the ability to make those mistakes, as you mentioned with the killing a specific character in the live stream, I later found out there was an interaction that I'd had with one of the prevalent characters that wanted to meet another prevalent character, and I thought, oh, this will be cool, let's see how these people interact, and they murdered them. So I got to watch that, and then I had the similar feeling to you, like, oh, that's that avenue just kind of closed then. But just to have these things happen around you, it's almost as if you didn't have to set these chains going. It feels like the world's already been existing and lived in before you got there, which is a really fun, just a really fun place to be. It makes for a really fun place to be.
Yeah, it's one of those games where you should, I would recommend the purest approach of just having one save and never reloading it, just saving, just keep going, just keep whatever happens. Because you're not going to break the game, you're not going to do something wrong.
You just roll with it.
You're just going to have a story, and then I think that if you know anyone else playing Atomfall, then you can have a good conversation with them about like what happened in my story. Oh God, I killed that character right at the start. Were they important?
Well, my favourite thing from the brief time I've played it was the metal detector.
Your metal detector.
I love using the metal detector, but then I saw Nath in our Slack chat earlier being like, there's a metal detector in the game. It's like, what have you been playing at?
Yeah.
So
he's
he's
made it to
almost
the end as well.
He's right at the end, and so he's done, he's done the whole game.
That's refreshing though, like you say, like you don't have to have the metal detector to be able to go and play the game. You don't have to have anything.
No, you don't. It's really is possible to play it kind of in loads of different ways.
Yeah.
Like loads of different ways. And some of them will be really hard. Why are you doing that to yourself? Get the metal detector. But but I love that he didn't even know it existed. That's really, really fun.
For those of you who don't know much about Atomfall, we should say it's a set in an alternate history, post-apocalyptic Britain.
Yes.
So it's set in like a fictional area of the Lake District after some kind of nuclear power plant disaster has struck. Yeah. And I think for those of us living in Britain, who I guess there are some video games set in Britain, but we don't get to play in video games certainly set in rural Britain like this very much.
Yeah.
So there's like an extra level of thrill, I think.
Yeah.
For those of us especially who have enjoyed games like Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. I remember playing that, and one of my levels of enjoyment was, this is just like the villages I know from my childhood and villages that are around the sort of local area where I am. There's something just fun. I mean, there's also like sci-fi robots in the game. Yeah. So it's not like
just like and sci-fi robots,
just like in the Lake District. Yeah. But it's I wasn't expecting. I don't know what I expected before I went in, but it's a specific artistic version of an alternate history. We were talking about this earlier, Connor, how it's got old Doctor Who vibes, a lot of it. And I know you found some actual Doctor Who Easter eggs as well, Connor.
I found the TARDIS, and the TARDIS went away before I could get to it. Which
made me sad. That's cool. That's great.
Yeah, so I spotted it, and it's up a hill that you have to climb. So as you start climbing, I could hear the noise.
Yeah. Oh my God,
that's so cool.
Yeah, and then you get to the top of the hill and it's gone. But then I noticed on the floor there's a pork pie or a trilby. I can never remember the distinction. The Tom Baker hat, basically.
Yeah.
So I think that's what they're leaning to. It's the Tom Baker Doctor Who has been here.
Oh, that's cool.
Great.
It's really cool.
I love that kind of thing. Yeah. But instantly you get what Rebellion are fans of. And I guess influences how they've approached and what has inspired them in terms of the tone they're going for.
Yeah.
Like that Doctor Who, it's, you know, it doesn't take itself too seriously, deals with some serious concepts, but it's coloured with cheekiness and fun and irreverence as well.
I think that irreverence, that's the other thing I like about this game, especially, and its setting, is I think that we Brits are quite self-deprecating, and we like laughing at ourselves, and we see the humor in our culture, and I like that. I don't know that this will travel to players outside of Britain, but I like just the silly things that are in there, like the idea of what is a village like in a post-apocalyptic Britain, where if the army, you know, like hauled up, they're in the village hall, and, you know, health items include Cornish pasties, and
I did like the Cornish pasty.
tea gives you a stamina buff or something. It's like they kind of make sense, and they're kind of funny, and I think it's just really well observed, and it feels quite just warm to play in that way.
Yeah,
especially as someone who grew up like you in a very similar sort of rural setting in the UK, and there are tons of lovely accents in it as well, to the point where it's like, I'm not sure, should all these accents be together? But it's fine. I think that they're mostly the army who have brought the accents into this one place, but it is really nice to hear many different accents celebrated in that way.
I agree. Rosie, have you played any of it at all, or
So
have you had your
haven't-
eye on it? Or
I haven't had a chance to play it, but I've had my eye on it, and I've been watching my mate Liam playing it, and it's been great fun watching Liam, because even Connor, we were talking about something that can happen in the bakery very early on in the game, and what you were saying, it's like you both got into a specific room in the same way, but like your interaction that happened with a certain like character was very different than what my mate had. So even talking about what he did compared to you did, I was, this is great fun. But I love the setting of it. I love just the atmosphere of it. And I love the telephones. Like when you go into them, I just
It's
really
cool.
like the pacing, and they're just like, the town of Wyndham is dangerous or something like that. Like, you know, I just really like the mystery of like, it starts like, it is nice, it is a lovely place, but it is dangerous. It's like,
it's a lovely place.
it's just like a really
League of Gentlemen.
yeah, it's just a really fun, like, just every time I see a telephone box, I'm always there thinking, even though I'm not playing it, I'm like, go in the telephone box, go and have a look, see what the phone says.
I also think it should get commended for its sense of atmosphere. Admittedly, I am, you know, a scaredy cat, as we all know, but it's got a really scary atmosphere, but it's livable, and it doesn't take advantage of that. It just lets you exist in it. In my experience so far, I'm sure that there are scary things to find, but like there's a particular place called the Interchange that's very central to the story, and discovering that it's basically a kind of abandoned science facility, and discovering that and walking, you walk around it for quite a long time, or, you know, I have been in my game, and I haven't found anything or anyone yet, but I found lots of questions, and I have gleaned lots of information about it, and I feel very uneasy when I'm in it, but in a cool way, where I'm like, but I gotta know what they were doing here and what's here. And I think that's really commendable to have created that atmosphere.
Yeah, it's very, very eerie and disconcerting at all times, which is, it's not an easy trick to pull off without draining the player, I guess. Making them feel tired. It manages to just keep you just on edge enough that you're able to go along and keep playing.
It definitely, it's got that sort of. Sorry, Rosie, you go on.
Well, I was just gonna say, it's like when you first see a sheep just in the wilderness or something, and you're like wondering what's going on already, but you know, it's not until you get a bit closer that's when something potentially might happen.
Yes.
Like, if you know what I mean. It's but when you see it from afar, you're just like, oh, okay, what's going on here? But then you start seeing more about what's happening with that like mystery and what's going on here, and also the poor sheep. Like, poor little thing.
You've created a little mystery there.
Yeah,
for Rob,
see?
who I'm guessing hasn't seen a sheep. What's happened to the sheep?
The sheep are in the wilderness.
You'll have to play to find out.
This is what I kind of love. This kind of weird, almost like 60s conspiracy theory, supernatural vibe, which reminds me of things like, you know, classic rural horror sci-fi radio plays, things like Children of the Stones. We already mentioned Doctor Who. A village there is called Wyndham, which is probably a nod to John Wyndham, the author of Day of the Triffids. That kind of, there's something about the English countryside, as picturesque as it can be. There's like there's an oddness to it.
Yeah.
A haunting undercurrent. And all you have to do is tweak the dial ever so slightly. Oh, the Wicker Man, obviously, another huge influence. And there literally is a Wicker Man right there. Like the druids in the game have built this Wicker Man, a very iconic horror image that is so intertwined with the isolation and the otherworldliness of the British countryside, of feeling like an outsider in like a strange community of people who feel like cut off from the rest of civilization. So like existing in this game sort of feels like that all the time. And if you're a fan of any of those things that we've just mentioned, then this game is probably right up your alley.
I also want to shout out the bartering system because I think it's cool. I like it. I like that. Another approach to this would just be there'll be some kind of currency in the game, like whatever it is, just shards of metal or something that's useful, a resource, and you would go and you'd find this and you'd then exchange it for goods and services. I'm describing like an economy, but instead they decided, well, it's it's post-apocalypse. It's in this kind of quarantined area where those things are kind of becoming meaningless. What is meaningless are just the things themselves. So when you now trade with somebody, there's basically like a scales of justice, or just weighing scales, which is what they actually are, and you take something out of someone else's inventory that you want and it weighs down the scales, and then you put things on your side of the scales until it balances. And when it balances, it's a trade. And I think that's just a really cool idea, and it means that kind of almost anything in the game has a value, which isn't very clear, and different things are have different values to different people. And I just think it's a really nice thematic way to do something in a game that you could have done a kind of a slightly more simple, boring way, where you just give the player a currency of some kind that's meaningless.
Well, there's a lot of games.
They buy stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of games, isn't there, where you just have to sort of guess what you think is a good value, and it's either you've given something that's too valuable, and then of course they're like, yeah, all right, we'll do this trade.
Rosie, that's such a good point, because I am weighing up, do I want that knife more than I want this first aid kit? And I get that. Like, as a player, I understand, well, what's more valuable to me, rather than that's worth 5 and that's worth 7.
Yeah.
It's like, it's actually about me. So that's such a good point. That's exactly what it is. I think it's great. Really, really cool. And I hope to see that in more games where you can barter. I don't know.
Games where you can barter. That'll be the next episode of the podcast.
Yeah.
The best bartering systems in games.
Yeah.
And that was Economics with Dave.
Yes, that's right. Thank you very much.
Well, I think 2025 is, it's been ridiculous so far. We say this at the beginning of every year. Oh, there's already loads of games coming out, but
there's some big games coming out this year.
And there's still some massive ones to come. Did anyone? Did you see the recent Death Stranding 2 trailer?
Yeah,
like the 10-minute long trailer. My God,
I really need to play Death Stranding before that comes out. I've wanted to play it for years, and now I'm just like, I have to get it finished.
You haven't played it at all?
No, I got up to chapter 2. And then I went away for a bit, came back, forgot all the mechanics, got on a bike, got ambushed, lost the bike, got really stressed and alone in the world.
That sounds about right.
That's when I was like, no, I need to play this from scratch. That's when I was like, no, I need to play this from scratch. So I still need to go back.
That trailer, have you seen that trailer, Dave?
I've seen about half of it, and I decided not to watch any more of it because I just have a funny relationship with trailers, basically, and I was finding it too intriguing, and
this trailer's working on me.
Exactly.
I will not watch any more of it.
I thought, if I'm going to play this game, I kind of want to uncover all this stuff for myself. But I mean,
I want to talk about a thing that happens right at the end of the trailer.
I haven't seen that.
If you are worried about, I guess you watch a trailer, maybe you'll have some things spoiled for you. It won't spoil anything, because even though it's 10 minutes long, you still have no idea what is going on.
I'll just have more questions.
Yeah, that is exactly how the Kojima trailer works.
Yeah, that's a good approach. Rob, if you want to talk about something at the end of the trailer, you do it. I'm fine with that.
So there's like floaty not spacecraft, but floating like ships, mechs that float around. And there's is it Heartman? It's Heartman, Nicholas Winding Refn in the game. There's a bit where he's like, engage, and he's inside this metal floaty ship, and he puts it on the body of like a 50-foot tall shadow creature. Almost like something out of Power Rangers, you know, where all the different bits join together to make a big thing.
Yeah.
And it looks like a Metal Gear or something. It's like the head of this mech on this big shadow creature's body. And I never seen anything like it before. It was so ridiculous and so cool that all I could do was I just made a noise, I think, when I saw that in the trailer. I cannot wait.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for that game. My God, it looks so good.
Yeah. It already looks so cinematic and beautiful and everything.
One of the most incredible trailers I've ever seen, I think, for a video game. So exciting.
It's annoying, isn't it? It's annoying that Hideo Kojima is so good at making games and so good at making trailers for his games.
Well,
he literally does it himself, doesn't he?
If you were to write the rules of what should and shouldn't be in a trailer, you probably have, should they be 10 minutes long? No.
Yeah.
They probably shouldn't be. But there's just something about the way they're put together and paced and cut and the slow. Well, it's not even a feed of information, like Connor said. You don't really know. None of your questions are being answered. In fact, you've just been given more questions. It's just incredible imagery, intriguing mystery, an amazing cast. Oh, what a cast. Anyway, we should stop going on about Death Stranding 2.
We'll be talking about that a lot more in the future.
I'm sure there'll be much more Death Stranding 2 coming later in the year. But yes, let us know if you're watching this on YouTube. Please do let us know in the comments if you've played any of the games we've talked about and what you think of them, and indeed what you're looking forward to in the remainder of 2025. Otherwise, we will be back in another 2 weeks' time with the next episode of the PlayStation Access podcast. Thanks for watching and listening. We'll see you then.
PlayStation